Back again, and today we will be discussing the rise of white supremacy. What's going on in Europe right now, right? A lot going on in Europe right now. Parts of Germany, if you're not paying attention. It's a lot going on in Canada right now, and it's a lot going on in these 50 states. You know what I'm saying? The United States of America. Um, so First, we're going to start the show off with saying RIP to the two young girls that were unalived tragically at their high schools. At their high school, and my thoughts and prayers go out to the parents. Man, it's so sad that in America, you want to send your kids to school, and you don't even know if when you send them to school, you don't even know if you're gonna pick them up, you know, back safely and see them again. That's sad because when I was growing up, it didn't used to be like that. But now it's become a norm. It's school shootings every day, and if the schools were protected like the White House was protected, I don't think it would happen so often, right? If the schools were protected like the White House was protected because the kids are so important, I don't think it would happen like that every day. But you know, again, this is a society that no longer sees the value of the kids. No longer sees the value of the kids. So again, RIP to those young girls that were unalived tragically at their high school in Nashville, Tennessee. The high school was called Antioch. And when you think of Antioch, you think of the place where Romans first became Christians. It was a place called Antioch, right? This is where the Romans first became Christians. And the gunman, the 17-year-old gunman who ended up taking his own life, um, his name was Solomon Henderson. But when you think of Solomon, you again see a biblical reference, right? And the shooter had a manifesto which left behind some of his deepest and darkest thoughts, right? Very, very, he was 17, but he had a very, very dark mind, right? Something happened to the boy. Something happened to the boy's mind, right? He had a very, very dark mind that makes me think he was spent a lot of time on the dark web, right? Because he even live streamed on Kick, you know, the act of him carrying out the attack at his school while recording himself speaking on how he is carrying out the attack on his school. But yes, the shooter's name was Solomon, as in the Bible. And in his manifesto, he spoke on how he was born into a black Israelite household, right? So his parents were black Israelites, right? And for those that don't know, the black Israelites are a group in America. It's a black based Christian group, right? That um many would label radical. Many would label them radical. You know what I mean? Um, with a race based ideology. They have a race based ideology, right? Um, I wouldn't necessarily, compare them to hate to hate groups that carry out attacks, like that. I wouldn't do that, but um, you know, many would. This is the group that you remember when Kyrie had the DVD that he posted, right? He posted the DVD and it got him in some trouble, right? Well, this group, you know, this boy Solomon, his family was part of this same group. For those that don't know, you know, for those that don't know, so he was born into a black Christian based, what some would say, black radical Christian based group. He was taught race first. He was taught to be black first. You know. Um. Anyway, I say that to say when he when you read through his manifesto, something had changed in young Solomon where he no longer had that pride of being black anymore. In fact, he had became a white supremacist, a black white supremacist that hated his own black people and even spoke about doing very, very harmful things to black Americans, to black people. And he looked down on them and said that, you know what? I am fed up with the low IQ. He was going in. He had nothing positive to say about black people. And again, he was born a black Israelite, right? So what happened to young Solomon where he's born um into a group that puts almost their race on a pedestal, and now, by the time he's carrying out this shooting, he puts his race at the bottom of the racial hierarchy system, right? If it existed, right? Um, in his manifesto, he spoke on how he worshipped Europeans, right? He worshipped Europeans, and he was anti-Semitic. Also, he had no love for no group that wasn't Aryan. Now, this is a very, very dark brother, right? This is a very dark brother, broad nosed brother named Solomon, who somewhere down the line learned to hate himself and hate his own people to the point where now he's carrying out attacks. You know, um, he would say in his manifesto that he became radicalized in his thinking from right wing podcasts like Candace Owens. Candace Owens was his favorite. That's what he said, right? And Candace Owens has always got a lot of backlash from the black community for um speaking negative on the black community, highlighting the lows of the black community. And now we are seeing that um maybe this is maybe when teenagers watch this stuff, um it may not be healthy. It may not be healthy for them to watch. You know, we spoke on Elon Musk and the algorithm that he pushed during the whole election of pages like In Wokeness and all of these far right radical pages that was almost like a ESPN highlight of black Americans at their lowest, right? And again, as I said before, if this is your algorithm, this is what it will create. It will create a robot of self-hate, right? If you watching, because he also said he watched Nick Fuentes, right? Very, very racist man, right? He was very, very in tune with the radical far right, that radical far right talking podcast that spoke down on black people, and he began to take on that impersonation. Also, he began to take on those beliefs himself, you know, even though he was born a black Israelite, where he was taught his race, that his race had more pride and dignity. Somewhere down the line, he lost all of that, right? And so this kid is, you know, from birth a black Israelite in his eyes, named Solomon, right? And days after Dr. King's day passed, he carries out an attack at a southern school, right? And I find it also ironic, I'm not on no conspiracy. So I'm just, I just find it ironic also that Dr. King's mother, for those that don't know, was assassinated and gunned down by a teenager that was a black Israelite also, that happened. And it happened at a church. I don't know what the name of the church was. Um, but yes, so we are seeing young black children that, you know, happening to all children, but in this case, we're seeing a young black child who was full of hate and got so we are seeing these young kids get radicalized and desensitized to being on these far right platforms that teach hate and xenophobia and you know um We're seeing the results of that, um, mixed in when he's already probably dealing with a lot of trauma and self hate. He was a confused guy. He was a young confused guy, and he probably didn't fit in. You know, in those platforms. Those platforms took him down a very very dark road. As I said, he's probably was. Reading his manifesto makes me think he was into the dark web. He probably played video games a little too much. No real social life. You know, uh, and then at 17, watching Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, where a lot of kids do have access to this stuff. I remember I seen a video where it was a lot of kids and they walked up to Sneeko. These was real young kids, like maybe 11 and 12, and they was walking up to Sneeko and they was saying "F them bees," keeping it clean. You know what I'm saying? And he was even shocked to say, wow, with this internet, man, you got to watch what your kids are watching because, even though we adults, we watching some of this stuff, our minds can handle it. These young kids can't handle this, but they have access to it, right? So you have to be able to, in the technology age, as parents, you have to be able to do a better job of listening to the music that your kids are listening to, right? Watching the movies that they watching. Uh, Making sure that you going behind them, looking at their phone. You pay that phone bill. They don't. See what I'm saying? So you control it. You tap in with Sprint, AT&T, or whoever you got to holler at, and you get full control over that phone. You make sure your kids ain't on Reddit getting radicalized, right? Because we have a sad case today where we lost two children, two kids for no damn reason. For no damn reason, you know. And then Solomon took his own life, you know, in a cowardly act because he got radicalized on the internet and became full of hate, self hate, and hatred for the world in general, right? But I've spoke on my X account about all of these right wing podcasts, these radical right wing podcasts that have xenophobic, homophobic, and you know, uh, just anti anything that's not white male in the undertones of their talking points, right? And when you look at the top 10 podcasts in the country, you will see about seven or eight of them are far right radical podcasts, right wing podcasts. You know what I mean? Excuse me, got a lot on my mind that I'm trying to get off at a quick enough time, right? Now, with that being said, even some of the white comedy has been because a lot of the white comedians now they have podcasts, right? You have people like Ari Shafir, and you have people like Theo Vaughn, and Joe Rogan is into the far right now. Patrick Betts, Candace Owens, uh, Nick Fuentes. As I say, a lot of these Ben Shapiro, The Daily Wire, Matt Walsh. These are far right wing podcasts with millions of listeners, and these millions of listeners, uh, also if they are on X, Elon Musk has a has an algorithm that amplifies the hate, the anti-blackness, the anti-Semitic, and as we move off that subject, uh, we see Elon Musk, you know, throwing the Nazi, throwing the Nazi sign in the air, right? As 2 weeks ago, he just was speaking on the Germany issue. As you know, Germany is also another place where we are seeing more um, immigrants come into, brown and black immigrants come into. And Elon Musk said that the only people that can save Germany is a far right radical neo-Nazi group. He just recently said this. So for him to do the Nazi sign, right, in front of the public's eye on Dr. King's Day, with 2 times in front of the world, it's a slap in the face. But it's even more of a slap in the face for the ADL and for cowards I don't want to let me take that back because I don't want to disrespect the old head, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Public Enemy fan. But Chuck D, I disagree with you heavily. And you was dead ass wrong for that, right? You was dead ass wrong for trying to defend Elon. And I'm glad you took the post down. I'm glad that you took the post down. It was embarrassing, honestly, for you to try to sit there and defend that. We all know what we saw. We all know what we saw. He's a Nazi. His father was a Nazi, and it is what it is. He 2 weeks ago he said he supported the Nazis in Germany. That's what he said. So for Chuck D to defend that, and for the ADL to defend that, use your brain. Use your brain. This thing is about money. This thing is about money now, right? Many black celebs, if they will make that mistake, we'll see an apology tour. We see Nick Cannon on an apology tour. We see Kyrie on an apology tour. Candace Owens gets anti-Semite of the year, right? Michael Jackson had to go on an apology tour. But when Elon Musk throws up the Nazi sign on Dr. King's Day in front of the world twice, the ADL says, "Oh, well, the world having a bad day right now. He got autism. Let him have that. Let him off the hook." See, that screams that money over morality. So when you watch that, when you look at that stage where Dr. King was on Trump's day and Dr. King's day, the inauguration, what did you see? I seen Jeff Bezos on stage. I seen Mark Zuckerberg on stage. I seen Elon Musk on stage. Obviously, I seen Donald Trump on stage. These are billionaires on stage. Joe Rogan on stage, right? He makes a lot of money now too, and he's tied in with the right wing too. And Mark Zuckerberg want to be down too, and Bezos want to get down too. This is an oligarch building, right? As they get ready to take back, um, and strip workers of their rights, of more rights that Dr. King fought for, right? They getting ready to get rid of those type of rights, the DEI programs. They want to get rid of the DEI programs. They already got rid of affirmative action. They're targeting the LGBT community. They want to send more troops down to the border, right? Got to stop these brown people from coming in. We got to stop it. It's an oligarchy building. And the reason that it's okay, okay, watch this. When I listen to rap, I am a rapper, and you should download my music. Nah, that's a flex, but let me stop right there. I am a rapper, right? But when I am not in the booth and not listening to myself or some of the greats, I listen to other rappers, and guess what I hear? I hear materialism worship over and over and over and over, right? Inside the raps. This is a billboard. I see a bill when I see a rapper, I see a billboard for European brands. That's what I see. An influencer. And that's a commercial. It's a commercial rapper. Right? And most of the rap fans are dead ass broke. Most rap fans are dead ass broke. They ain't got no money. But they like listening to rappers, and they really only like respecting rappers who have a record deal that look like they have a lot of money. Right? So rap fans, mostly black rap fans, one of the poorest groups in the country, loves rappers that rap about money and floss money and drive cars that they can't afford and live in houses that they can't afford, right? Not to say it's not nice to have those things, but why would a poor man want to hear me rap about it and flaunt it to him and tell him I can hit your chick? It's they worship the rich, and that's the same thing is happening to the right wing, right? They have nothing in common with Trump, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan. They have nothing in common with him, but I'll leave Joe Rogan out of that, right? They have nothing in common with the Elon Musk of the world. The Joe Rogans, not the. I want to bring them back in. That's the ancestor, right? The Donald Trumps of the world. However, they worship them and they make excuses for their behavior because they worship the rich. Everybody wants to be part of the rich. And that's why you see so many people right now caught up in the stocks. Right? Everybody in the parlays. America's never had a gambling problem like this. Makes America a lot of money, but it makes the rich a lot of money, right? You think that you can become that 1%. You think that you can become that 1%. So you admire them. You admire the rich, even in their evil ways. It's about $1 trillion on that stage on Dr. King's Day. It was about $1 trillion on that stage. And right after the inauguration, they all got together and they watched Trump sign bills. Trump did it for the workers. He said, no more DEI programs, no more equal opportunity acts, right? And Bezos hate unions. He hates unions. So he's down with that. No more DEI. No. Walmart hires the most black Americans in the country. They were the first ones to get rid of DEI programs. Equal opportunity acts. They don't have to hire. They don't have to hire and keep diversity in the company anymore, right? This is white males wanting to take their country back. We started off the conversation with Christianity, Dr. King's Day. We must deal with the rise of white Christian nationalism, which has always plagued this country since the beginning. See, because it was the doctrine of discovery. It was the doctrine of discovery and the Papal Bull of 1493 put into effect by the Catholic Pope that Christopher Columbus could come to America and conquer anybody who did not believe the way that he believed. That was the doctrine of discovery. So when they say Christopher Columbus discovered America, it is true, but it's not technically true. It's true through paperwork. It's true through documentation. And this is how these people work, right? They sign documents to rewrite history. As we see Trump sitting there and say, we're going to go to a colorblind. We're going to go colorblind on y'all, right? AKA, we're getting rid of that black history. I told you TikTok. Now you can't type in any pro-Palestine stuff on TikTok. That's what they telling me. I told you that I was going to get the remix. Didn't I tell you that? Now it's getting the remix. Now the curriculum will get the remix, as he said, as he promised already, right? If you teach black history, your school will be defunded. This is what he said. It's what he means. Mean what he says, So Christian nationalism is on the rise. Trump is being funded by the Heritage Foundation, which are a bunch of white Christian nationalists, right? That's where J.D. Vance hangs out with them, even though he got an immigrant wife. And he didn't defend Kamala one time. I understand different sides of the ball, of the spectrum. However, your wife is Indian also. You couldn't defend the sister at all. Another story for another day, right? So which, by the way, it was two immigrants on that stage. That day you had Mulaney and you had J.D. Vance's wife, right? So uh, obviously these men, and that's colonizer minded too, right? The colonizer, he would, he didn't rock with the women. He didn't rock with the men. The women, he'll rock with the women. He don't rock with the men to a degree. To a degree. He really got too much love for the women either, but to a degree. That's the spoils of war. That's the booty. That's the booty. Spoils of war. The woman. When you conquer people, you take the woman. That's the treasure. So Christian nationalism it is a problem, and it's on the rise again. It's on the rise again, right? It never left. It never left, but it's rising its head back up again. And they have always used Dr. King, even though, they hated Dr. King. Many of them hyper capitalists hated Dr. King. Again, Dr. King was a communist, right? He was a communist. So they don't really love Dr. King, but they're using Dr. King for political gain, right? Well, Dr. King wanted this, well, Dr. King wanted that, the whole time trying to strip away Dr. King's people's rights, right? This is what happened during the slave trade. It was always used as Christianity was always the front, right, for political gain. And it will always be the front for political gain. We are seeing the whitewashing right in front of our eyes, right? Seeing the whitewashing right in front of our eyes to the point where now we have black children, teenagers like Solomon Henderson turn into black white supremacists who hate his own self, hate his own people. No different from the gangster, except no different from the black gangster who hates himself also. However, this is a little different. This is a little different. And like I say, when you read his manifesto, it's very, very dark. But it is on the rise. As I said, Elon hitting us with the Nazi sign twice. They letting us know. He letting us know where we at. Where he at. They got the most money, right? Vivek Ramaswamy, rich immigrant, a lot of money, always had paper, came to the country, $16,000 a month for his high school tuition, but he got kicked out the group. And Coulter told him, I don't rock with you because you Indian. When he was in Iowa, they told his wife, we can't vote for your husband because he Indian. So it's no, I'm not surprised that he got kicked out of the Doge, right after he said what he said. They didn't want him in there anyway. all the buck dancing that Tim Scott and all them did, it didn't get him nowhere. It didn't get him nowhere. I hope I have some partners that's down with the Black MAGA, and I hope that I hope that I'm wrong on things that I am saying pertaining to how your guy will treat Black Americans and just treat humans in general, because right now it seems like he is causing more division and hate than anything, and that's one thing that we didn't want. We didn't want we didn't want all of the hate to come back, right? We wanted it to be more, more inclusion again, and everyone living amongst each other, doing their own thing, right? Without judgment, without hate. But as Christian nationalism is on the rise, and Elon Musk is puppeteering Trump, and the Christian found and the big Christian foundation with all the money, the Heritage Foundation, is puppeteering Trump, and Trump is already in his own evil way. Did you hear what he said the other day about Gaza? They asked him how confident was he in the ceasefire, and he said it's not our war. I don't care. In so many words. And then he even went to the point where he said that Gaza now, after it's been all blown up, is the perfect location for a beachfront. This is what he said. This man want to put some gold towers up in Gaza on the strip where children were massacred, innocent people were massacred. He didn't blink an eye. He have no emotion. He's a rich billionaire who's been rich his whole life, and he sees people as numbers. When he don't value people. He don't value people. He's a cold-hearted man. These are oligarchs. This is an oligarch, and y'all worship the rich rappers. Y'all worship them because they rich. You know most of them niggas can't even rap. But they got that necklace, they got that diamond necklace and that car, and you rocking with it. You lying to yourself, and that's why a lot of times, if it ain't about the music video, you don't even want to listen to the song. You like the video because you like looking at that materialism. Be honest. And a lot of these people are letting Trump and Elon and all of these billionaires off the hook because they know their worth financially, right? And they admire the rich. And this is the burning house. As Dr. King said, this is the burning house. Materialism, consumerism, hypercapitalism, which has us all acting a damn fool, right? But you better get serious real soon because they are very serious with you. Trump is coming out the gate swinging, signing all kind of laws into effect. If you ask a dude right now, what's up, and he say nothing, yo, he ain't paying attention. He ain't paying attention to what's going on, right? But on that note, man, we're gonna wrap it up, man. One day, we will get deeper into, white Christian nationalism